friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie Yo 509. Day in the neighborhood. My brothers and sisters, the man that we're about to go back to today, I have only watched one video from him. And all I can say is, long story short, short story long, it was excelente. And that man that I'm talking about is Nick Crowley. Back to Nick Crowley, y'all. Hope y'all doing excelente out there today. And I'm glad that you came on back to the channel once again to fuck with the bean. And the title of the video is The Internet's Darkest Corners 4. Now, the internet to me, y'all, it feel like the universe in a way. Like, you know how the universe is infinite, like it goes on forever. I feel like the internet is the same way, man. Like, there is no freaking ending to the internet. And whatever the hell type of corners that Nick Crowley have crawled upon, I'm pretty sure it's about to be crazy. But before we see how crazy it is, my brothers and sisters, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you may need. Get what you need, please. We back to Nick Crowley for the second time. Y'all got what y'all need. Y'all ready to go? Then let's go.
Wake and engine instruments are dependable reference, with which first officer and captain peer out into the distance to find the smooth, clear way ahead.
August 31st, 1988. An airplane sits motionless at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport as passengers begin to slowly take their seats. 78 people in total were scheduled to fly that day, with the craft being piloted by Captain Larry Davis, First Officer Kerry Kirkland, and Flight Engineer Stephen Judd, a crew that boasted an impressive 30,000 hours of flight time amongst them. It was a notably windy day for the flight bound for Salt Lake City, Utah. So much so that by the time they had pulled away from the gate and reached the runway, a call was sent down to the cockpit directing them to hold their position for an additional minute, as the gusts now swelled more and more ferociously. The hold again left the craft stationary, allowing for a few moments in which the crew members spoke amongst themselves.
We forgot something on our first leg today. We forgot to discuss about the dating habits of our flight attendants so we could get it on the recorder, you know, in case we crashed, then the media would have some kind of a juicy
Nah, it just seemed like another one of those videos, y'all. We just watched this from Tragedy Tales where it was a guy joking about before they went parachuting. Was they parachuting? No, they were skydiving. He joked about before they crashed into skydive, something like that. And then they actually end up crashing. Now it seems like we about to have the same thing, man. There's some things, my brothers and sisters, I just feel like it's some things that you don't joke about. And joking about freaking crashing in this plane, I will never bring that up. But that's just me. Let's go.
The voice you're hearing is that of First Officer Kerry Kirkland, who mentions a point that, in passing, seems completely out of the blue, that they should talk about the dating habits of their flight attendants, as it would give the media something to talk about in the event that they crashed. As bizarre as this line sounds, Kerry was actually referencing a separate incident that had happened not even a year before, with that being the crash of Flight 1713.
A few seconds of indescribable terror on runway 35 left. Too many people die in an instant. We ask again, why them and not us?
In that scenario, the pilots of the flight had also been awaiting takeoff, this time in the midst of a brutal blizzard. And rather than discussing their takeoff, they instead had conversations about the stewardesses on board, joking and laughing amongst themselves about the manner in which they dated around, with these pilots getting so lost in that conversation that they completely forgot to de-ice their plane. A mistake they likely never even realized, as just moments after takeoff, rather than the plane soaring high above the ground, it raised only slightly before falling limp, crashing into the dirt below it and killing 28 people on board, including those 2 pilots. The story made national and international headlines, making it a topical reference for Carey to bring up, yet also a clearly inappropriate one, as he had failed to notice the irony in his words. Following the crash of 1713, new stricter guidelines were put in place so that pilots would keep their conversation focused on the takeoff process until they were well established in the air. Yet here, Carey was joking around with the crew, not even noticing that he too was creating a distraction. One that sucked in not only one of their flight attendants, but even the captain himself.
We were just talking yesterday, about 191 seems to be the classic airline crash that the news media goes for every time.
Which led to Carey providing one last bit of gallows humor.
Yeah, that Continental that crashed in Denver? Did you read that? Yeah, they were talking about dating habits of one of their flight attendants. They were real nice. They made me laugh, We gotta leave something for our wife and children to listen to.
Man, he's sitting around here joking around, y'all, talking about crashing, and we just making this recording so our wife and our children can have something to listen to when we die. Just trying to make a joke out of the situation, but it's very ironic that it's seeming like the same goddamn thing that he joking about is about to happen to them. Crazy, man. Some stuff, y'all, you just don't joke about. And when I say that, this is exactly what I mean, my brothers and sisters, when I'm really saying that. And I know a lot of y'all feel this because I honestly do believe in this. The universe is listening. You can speak stuff into existence, man. Like the universe, your energy, what you put off, what you believe in, how you go about your day, how you carry yourself, what the fuck you believe in, the universe brings it back to you. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but sometimes it can happen, and this time it seems like it's gonna happen, man. This man's sitting up here joking about this stuff. Wow.
He was well aware of just how much the media loved a good plane crash segment. And unbeknownst to that distracted crew within the cockpit, they were about to give them a fresh story.
Power set. Engine instruments look good. Airspeed's coming up both sides. VR, V2. Whoa. Engine failure. We got an engine failure. Well, I'm gonna take it. 141.
Oh.
22 seconds. That's all the airtime the craft could muster, as immediately upon the wheels lifting off the ground, the craft began to roll right, with the wing striking the runway and catching on fire as it clipped a nearby antenna that was anchored to the ground. The plane was immediately uncontrollable and completely unable to gain any sort of significant altitude, as it fell into a pathetic descent and crashed into the dirt below it, sliding well over 1,000 feet before grinding to a halt. In the carnage, 14 people would lose their lives, including 2 of the flight attendants, while miraculously, all others survived, including everyone heard on this fateful recording. All of whom were swiftly fired, though not criminally convicted, despite the fact that the crash was deemed to have been caused by their own human error. What the crew had failed to realize was that as they joked about the pilots of Flight 1713 and their untimely distraction, they too had distracted themselves to the point of forgetting an integral step of the takeoff process. They had failed to lower their wing flaps and slats for takeoff. And without these in proper position, the flight never stood a chance, making the final words inside that cockpit some of the most chillingly ironic ever recorded, with this audio going on to become yet another disturbing oddity found within the dark corners of the internet.
Man, that's so ironically crazy, y'all. Like, it's kind of terrifyingly ironically crazy, eerily ironically crazy. Like, you gotta add another adjective in front of the ironic. Like, seriously, man. Oh my God, y'all. And because you just break it down to the fact that not only was they joking about this, but they was getting distracted, just like those people who had died in the previous plane got distracted. Another thing is that they had it wasn't the same type of error, but it's one of those errors that all people who are flying a freaking plane should never have. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that you should always check. Those people who died at the first time, they forgot to de-ice they freaking wheels or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's something that the freaking cockpit, the crew pick, the pilot, whoever, we should know that. That should be something that's second nature to make sure that y'all did that. The second plane, they forgot to lower their flaps or whatever before they took off. It's just like, wow, man, it's so simple what the freak they forgot in that moment. And then you add on to the fact that the way they planes crashed, both of them crashed before they pretty much got off the ground. They never even made it to a high altitude. Soon as they started going up, they crashed, both the same. And then when another thing that I just want to point out that's crazy also is the fact that the people who was flying the plane, none of them died. Now, I don't know if they should have went to prison or not, be charged with murder, manslaughter, whatever. I don't know, y'all. I go back and forth on that one. But I'm just saying, it is crazy that the ones who was joking about this plane crashing, they actually did get to go back to their freaking wife or husband and kids. Boy, we starting off crazy again, y'all. I'm loving it. Let's go.
I'm gonna die. It's all the way up to my windows. I'm gonna die.
Before we get into our next case, I want to first thank today's sponsor.
Let's go, y'all. We starting off good again. Shout out to all Nick Crowley, man. And shout out to all y'all that told me to come check this man channel out, y'all. And man, oh man, just the fact that they was joking about that ish, then it happened almost to a T in the same way. Close enough. I don't know. Let's get to the second one.
Well,
JJ didn't know how much time had passed when he first noticed the soundless haze that had moved in all around him. JJ could no longer see the stars or the moon.
the world of flying is often a scary and complex one, and our first case shows just how important it is for pilots to properly check their crafts before taking off. Something that, even as a pilot in training, 18-year-old Connor Quisenberry understood all too well. A well-studied student of the ATP flight school, Connor had made it his life's mission to become a pilot, completing a multitude of classes and courses at the school. And by the age of 18, only a few steps stood in the way of him obtaining his private pilot's license, the most daunting of which being the high number of flight hours needed. And so, on September 27, 2023, Connor was scheduled for a nighttime flight with ATP instructor Timothy McKellar, in which he would pilot a small prop plane on a 3-hour-long journey, thus bringing him 3 hours closer to that coveted license. McKellar was just 22, a young man himself, and he had not been Timothy's usual instructor, but that day he was the only pilot available to assist Connor. In fact, it was the first time the two had ever even flown together, and it was clear from the get-go that it was probably going to be their last. Recognizing the importance of checking over your plane before takeoff, Connor had begun performing a lengthy check of the craft to ensure that everything was in working order. Exactly what most instructors would probably want to see from their students. But apparently not McKellar, as unbeknownst to Connor, his flight instructor had pulled out his cell phone during his checks and recorded the following video for his Snapchat. The post was scathing, and despite the student pilot not doing anything out of the ordinary, McKellar seemed displeased at the speed at which Connor was operating, telling his friends on Snapchat how glad he was that Connor wasn't his full-time student, and that he'd seen faster movement at the Special Olympics.
Man, just reading that text, y'all, it's just like, dude, come on, man. freaking Connor, I think that's his name, he doing what you need to be over there helping him do. Making sure that this goddamn plane is in tip-top shape before we take it off this ground, man. But you making a joke about it. You calling him a special ed Olympic person, which is making jokes about special needs people too. You know what I'm saying? And the horrible thing is you're making this joke, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be funny when whatever happened about to happen, man. Wow, and he's supposed to be the instructor? Really?
It was clear that McKellar wanted no part of this flight, and that the two could be in for a long, tense evening, with McKellar's passive-aggressive attitude only continuing on from here. The caption here sheds more light on why McKellar seemed so frustrated. As he typed, "I don't have to be up at 4:30 a.m. tomorrow or nothing. Let's take our sweet-ass time and have a conversation instead of getting this 3-hour flight done." But that frustration obviously can't excuse his comments or his demeanor, as in this scenario he was the teacher, there to support and mentor Connor. Yet instead he was lambasting him behind his back on social media, and making it apparent to the young student that he was being a burden, as he tapped his fingers obnoxiously on the plane. And these posts continued from here, as the next Snapchat shows that the two had finally made it inside the craft and had now taken off. Now obviously there's a lot of context missing here. It could have been possible that Connor had said something that irked McKellar, or that he was just not being responsive to any advice given. But this seems to be immediately disproven by yet another Snapchat that McKellar posted. 1.6 hours into the flight of me giving it to him straight up. Forrest, I don't mind you being hard on me, I know I need it. Me thinking to myself, did you really think I cared if you minded? But what I actually said is that we're flying planes, not driving cars. We can't have these weak areas this far in the game. The caption seemed to confirm that Connor was clearly trying to learn and get better, since after all, he was just a student and only 18 years old. But this didn't matter to McKellar, and unfortunately for Connor, this nightmare of a flight was about to get much, much worse. Headed our way like a group of pissed-off hornets, McKellar posted, accompanied by a screenshot of a weather radar, showing heavy rainstorms in the direction in which they were headed. This was the final post ever made to McKellar's Snapchat, as moments later, the small craft would lose contact with flight control and disappear into the stormy night sky. It wouldn't take long for the plane to be found, or at least what was left of it, as using the final posting from Timothy's Snapchat story, a search team was able to track the craft down to a wooded area behind a church, with the flight having ended in a terrible crash due to the turbulence from that storm. And inside that mangled mess of steel were the bodies of Connor Quisenberry and Timothy McKellar, neither of whom survived the impact. With Connor's final night on this earth having been spent facing intense ridicule both in real life and on social media, making these Snapchats some of the more depressing content out there on the internet.
Yeah, that one right there was just sad, man. It's just sad in a way that this dude, he's sitting up here being, and I'm gonna say it, rest in peace to him, but he was being a freaking douchebag, a fucking asshole, trying to like degrade and make Connor out to look like a dumbass when, bro, I just hate to say it, like I said, rest in peace to him, but you was the one being a dumbass by not taking this flight seriously. You was the teacher. Connor doing all the work trying to make sure this flight goes A-okay. And another thing is, this seems like, in this case, it's just their time to go, y'all. It was their time to go. And the reason I say that more than anything, because Connor, he made sure everything was in place. Everything was good. But they couldn't predict that damn storm cloud that they was running into. And that's what more than likely ended their life, man. Like I said, rest in peace to both of them. But we got to admit, my brothers and sisters, being team, that McConnell, whatever. He don't. If you read those messages and you look at it in hindsight, You'd be like, bro, come on, man. You just don't know what about to happen to you and Connor. Let's go. That was another good one.
Let's go there, let's go there. A time to learn and grow. It's off to school we go.
The freak.
Do not add ed at the end of irregular verbs when making them in the past tense. That's only for regular verbs.
This is Luke Rockwell, or as some of you may know him as Teacher Luke. Raised in Melbourne, Florida, the now 29-year-old was introduced to a wide online audience around the time that TikTok began exploding in popularity in the United States. The premise of his account seemed simple enough from afar. Luke was an excellent speaker and used his understanding of the English language to create short-form videos centered around proper pronunciation and phrasing.
Do not say, explain me or explain you. Instead, you should add the word to. For example, I'm going to explain to you.
Teacher Luke's account had immediately become an asset for foreign speakers to better understand the language, though this wasn't all the account consisted of, as he'd also post a variety of other mildly interesting travel-related videos.
Top countries that are the most dangerous to travel to in the year 2022.
And at some, he even took a go at making some more comedic-based content.
I didn't realize until I came to Thailand that I hate Thais. I'm just gonna say it. The weather is just too hot, man, to wear them around your neck.
But none of these were the reason that the account grew to the size it did, as initially his page was followed by nearly 3 million TikTok users, thanks mainly to his more edgy content, leading to some clips that I'm certain some of you have seen before.
How do you say this word? Today I'm going to teach you 3 different ways to say this word. Some have a hard R and some do not. Negro is the common word used to call black people in Thailand. When I first moved here, I was shocked to hear it because in Western culture, it's a pretty offensive word.
It's hard to label this content that thrust Luke's page into the spotlight, but I guess it could be described as baiting his audience into thinking he's saying something problematic, but instead making it a loosely educational moment, thus vindicating himself from anything he said. Like I mentioned before, these videos were definitely edgy, so much so that in 2020, his page was actually terminated by TikTok, thus leaving him all the way back at square one. Undeterred though, he kept on creating, launching a new account under the username English with Teacher Luke, and with
I just gotta say, y'all, one thing, and I'm not, some of y'all probably think I was highly offended by the Niger thingy, but I'm gonna say this because I see the genius behind this, y'all, because I'm trying to become a great content creator myself. What he was doing, the way he was being controversial, but not being like he was like staying on both sides of the fence with what the different little words that he would throw out there and try to say you can say it this way and just getting a lot of people talking. It was genius. It was freaking genius. It was a reason that he had over 3 million freaking followers over there on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Because he knew how to get people talking. And it wasn't like he was just coming out and just straight saying that racist N-word. You know what I'm saying? But he just knew a way to get it going, get it moving in social media eyes or whatever. But I think he about to go to another level with it, with this new account, because TikTok banned that just because TikTok is one of those ones that don't play, y'all. Trust me, TikTok don't play about a lot of stuff, and they got rid of him on that account. Now let's see how he come back on this one, because this is where I feel like he gonna go overboard with it. Let's go.
Within only 1 year, it had already gained over 1 million followers back.
1 million followers on this account. Thank you guys so much. It's so crazy that 1 year ago on my old account, I hit 1 million on the same day.
His content was seemingly inevitable, with each video being primed for virality. But what many might not have known was that his passion for the English language, as unserious as it may seem from these videos, reached far deeper than just the online world. In 2019, Luke packed his bags and moved all the way across the world to Thailand, where he would use his love of the language to get a job as an English teacher, working with students from K-12 while simultaneously having a flourishing career on TikTok. All factions of his life were thriving, and for a moment it seemed everything in his world was going right. How could he ever fail?
How?
A US teacher and TikTok star accused in Thailand of having sex with a teenager. Luke Rockwell was released on bail after he was charged in Bangkok with luring a minor for indecent purpose. With one article, one headline, the facade of English teacher Luke had crumbled. But how did...
And I'm gonna go and say this real quick, y'all. I was thinking it, but I ain't say it. I was thinking this already. Just by looking at him, and I know we don't supposed to judge book by covers or whatever. But I already knew he had some crazy going on in his life. And I was just looking at him like, this motherfucker looked like a child predator. I'm just saying, man, that's just what was going on in my brain, y'all, from the very beginning, man. And come to find out he was one, is one, whatever. Oh, these type of people, man. How could you do this to children? How could you? I ain't gonna even go into all that. Let's go.
How did it all go so wrong? And what exactly happened that led to his arrest? Well, it started shortly before the news broke, when a 16-year-old living in Bangkok visited her doctor's office, complaining of intense stomach pain and discomfort. After administering a series of tests, doctors would determine that the girl had contracted not just one, but 2 STDs. With her only partner having been Luke Rockwell. Her mother was furious upon the revelation and immediately took her to the police, where a full investigation was done, revealing some truly damning information. It was discovered that before the pair had met up for the first time, they had been messaging back and forth for roughly 5 months, and during this time, Luke lured her and eventually convinced her to sleep with him. And while this is horrible enough, some agencies actually reported that the girl was a former student and had become a fan of his content, which led her to reconnect with her former teacher, insinuating that the grooming may have stemmed back even further than just those 5 months. But I need to note that I was unable to find any solid proof of this, so take these reports with a grain of salt. But what is known for sure is that while they were seeing each other, Luke asked the girl to keep their relationship private until she had turned 18, so as to not turn any heads. And during this time, Luke never mentioned having STDs, and instead he promised the girl that he was clean, even lying to the point that he had showed her a copy of his medical history, which was likely either forged or completely out of date. Luke's actions were heinous, and his words were that of a man who knew he was doing wrong, yet actively trying to get away with it anyway. And if all these charges weren't horrible enough, the investigation into Luke revealed one final proverbial nail in his coffin, as the investigators had discovered undeniable proof that these alleged encounters had taken place. Proof that came in the form of video recordings that were all done without the victim's knowledge.
Oh my God.
Following the discovery, Luke was arrested and his TikTok page was removed once more. But despite the evidence for these charges lobbied against him, it appears that Luke isn't actually in prison, at least not yet, as after quickly making bail, some internet users claim that they've seen him around Bangkok, enjoying his life and acting as if nothing happened, even posting stories on what appears to be his secret private Instagram. I was unable to find any updates outside of this, making it unclear whether Luke is still on bail, if he's been taken back into custody, or if he ended up beating the charges. So for now, it's uncertain how Luke's story will end. But it's still disheartening to know that his presence is still looming out there in the shadowy corners of the online world.
Man, Luke ass need to be locked up and the key need to be thrown away. And he's still out here, y'all. Like Nick just said, I feel his presence out here in the world free as a free man. I don't think he freaking locked up, man. I believe he's a free man. He probably never gonna face no charge for that. That's overseas and stuff. And if it was the United States, I'm almost sure. I'm not gonna even say I'm 100% sure on that he'll be locked up here. You know what I'm saying, man? But looking at those videos after knowing who he really is, who he really are, who he really was, a freaking child molester, predator, and then the fact that on top of that, he had the audacity to give this little girl STDs, and on top of that, you got the audacity to record it. Like, you know all that about him, then you look at his videos, and especially the ones where he in there with his class, his students in the classroom, it just send chills down your spine, man. Wow, dude. Let's go.
Your school day, my school day, a time to learn and grow.
October 25th, 2022. The bell rings throughout the halls of the Jiuan Middle School in the Jiangxi province of China, marking the start of another class period. Jiuyuan was not your standard middle school. For starters, it was massive, stretching roughly 600 acres around, and it featured dorm rooms where the students would stay full-time, sometimes even being accompanied by their parents. And on top of this, the huge complex was guarded and enclosed by a large wall topped with barbed wire. It was certainly a unique place, to say the least. But as the nearly 3,000 students across the campus piled into their different classrooms, one student failed to take his seat. 15-year-old Hu Xinyu. The teacher waited 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, growing more and more annoyed at the boy's tardiness. However, this annoyance would slowly turn to worry, as by the time the class period had ended, there was still no sign of the boy, prompting an immediate campus-wide search, yet he was nowhere to be found. And most chillingly, there was no record of him leaving out of the school's guarded exit. Confused, staff checked the campus security footage, where they would find Hu walking out of his dormitory, heading in the direction of his class, which was located in a building no more than a few hundred feet away. Yet he never made it there. Instead, the campus cameras revealed a blind spot of only 10 meters between his dorm room and that class building. A blind spot that no student and likely no faculty, aside from maybe a select few, could have known about. And yet, within that blind spot, Hu had vanished into thin air. In between these buildings was a path that led to a large park on the premises, in which many assumed Hu had probably slipped into. But when police checked the area with their tracking dogs, their search yielded nothing. So they took things a step further, this time doing a deeper search of the campus itself, even looking into septic tanks and water tanks, checking every square inch. But again, no trace of the boy was found. All they could
Like, what y'all think what happened to him right now? Like, do y'all think he was kidnapped or murdered? Or did he get into some type of place where he couldn't get out of and then he died? You know what I'm saying? Did he get stuck somewhere on this campus in which led to his death? I don't know, y'all. Right now, I'm like 50-50 on it. I think this is going to be crazy what actually happened to him.
could uncover was his cell phone and other personal belongings that were left behind in his room, with the only object of his missing being a small recorder that he had purchased a few days before. It was believed that at the time of his disappearance, that recorder was literally the only item he had taken with him. Somehow, this young boy had disappeared within the tightly watched walls of his school, with there being no sign of him on campus and no evidence that he had ever left, despite the fact that China, and this area in particular, is blanketed in cameras, seemingly watching every single inch. But Hu was nowhere. It was as if the school had swallowed him whole. Shortly after his disappearance, Hu's mother began desperately posting to Douyin under the account Xinyu's Mother Searching for Son, where she begged the public for help in finding her missing child, with the clips of these plaintive pleas sparking immense interest from a vast number of people across the web, leading to the case immediately exploding in popularity that only continued to grow as new disturbing information began to surface. It started with a revelation made by an internet user in China who mentioned that Hu was not the first student to go missing from the school. In fact, these disappearances were becoming seemingly a yearly occurrence, prompting immediate speculation about the school and their potential involvement in these disappearances. With the school becoming more suspicious, as reports began emerging that once police had arrived, they realized that there was data missing from the CCTV cameras, with many of the cameras on the premises conveniently malfunctioning on that specific day that Hu had vanished, almost as if the footage had been deleted afterwards. But not before one of the guards had supposedly snuck a video, which he claimed exposed what really happened that fateful day.
What the fuck?
I'm not sure if I'll be able to show it here, but the grainy CCTV footage shows what looks to be a young boy, lying limp before being placed onto a stretcher and carried away, with many online taking the clip and running with it, claiming adamantly that it was Hu and that he had clearly been kidnapped. And this wasn't the only supposed recording of the incident, with the other evidence coming from the recorder that Hu had been carrying. But although at this point the device was never recovered, one internet user claimed that it featured a cloud storage system, in which he was able to hack into and access Hu's final recording from that day, with this clip being even more disturbing.
This is weird / crazy / terrible / horrifying as freak, my brothers and sisters. I don't even know what to make of it, man. This is like one of those rabbit holes that you can go down, because you can think, did he get kidnapped? Did he get goddamn murdered by somebody? If you listen to that recording, do the freaking campus, this university, have anything to do with it? Because they also then did it. Well, I'm not gonna see, I'm already claiming that they did it, but I'm just saying it already has been a lot of other students that have went missing on this campus in the past, man. So it's just like all that stuff, and I can go even crazier with it. If you believe that damn video, if you believe that's actually Hugh in that video, I can make a case that that's the freaking people from the Men in Black or the government or whatever coming to kidnap people so they can take them to the aliens to freaking experiment on them. Like the aliens want people, the aliens just want a couple people every now and then from different places, and the government help kidnap them so they can take them back to their ships and do all the crazy stuff, while us on Earth believe that they dead or just vanished. You know what I'm saying, man? You can go down a lot of different rabbit holes with this one, y'all. Let's go.
With all these claims and supposed evidence making their way across the internet, everything seemed to point to Hu's disappearance as being one massive conspiracy, one in which the school was not only working to cover up, but also seemed to actively play a role in. But why? What was so special about Hu that made him a target? Well, one account from a supposed student of the very same school stated that before the boy had vanished, the school held a mandatory health evaluation, where Hu's blood was drawn, revealing that his blood type was P. And if that doesn't sound like any sort of blood type you've heard before, it's because it's one of the rarest in the world. As in China, only about 1 dozen out of 1 million people have it.
Boy, you learn something new every day. I have never, all these 33 years that I've been on this earth, heard of a blood type P. Wow.
Because of this, it was claimed that Hu had been killed in order for his organs to be harvested and used as a transplant for a local official who shared the same rare blood type. The story was compelling, and with the school's suspicious history of disappearances, people in the area began to protest at its gate, demanding to know what was going on, to which the principal and the staff lashed out in anger, acting crazed as if they had something to hide. Which only added further fuel to the fire. And with all these disturbing accounts and details coming out from all across the web, the fire raged more and more intensely as the theories grew wilder and wilder, until January 29th, 2023, when a man walking his dog stumbled across the body of Hu Xinyu as it hung lifelessly in the woods, alongside a brick wall just barely 60 meters away from his school. Next to his body was the voice recorder that had multiple audio messages stating his intentions to end his own life, which was done using his own 2 shoelaces. In the time since his body was discovered, lots of new information has been brought forward by officials, who sternly stated that both the recording and the video of Hu had been completely faked, along with a variety of other details that the press had leaked, and that an autopsy revealed that he had no injuries other than those that were self-inflicted. And most importantly, that the body included all of its organs. It was also discovered that his journal revealed that he was more troubled than many had believed, and that he was going through a difficult time, with his grades suffering drastically, leading to these dark thoughts. The whole case was honestly a mess, and especially the coverage during the height of its popularity, as it's now clear that people were simply making up stories and even evidence, which the media ran with without question, leaving us in a strange place where it's impossible to tell which stories and which details were actually real. But to this day, the case still remains polarizing, with many continuing their suspicion of the school and their involvement, with the most common argument being that the school had been searched over and over and over again, and yet no one saw the body. Along with this, many have taken exception to the idea that Hu could have carried this all out with just his shoelaces, as he was there.
And I was just about to say that too, y'all. Like, yes, this is very polarizing. This is one that I'm going to be thinking about. Damn, Nick Crowley. This is one of those ones that I'm going to be thinking about for days to come, y'all. Like, did he really kill himself? That's the question that I got, man. Like, if you just look at the whole situation, man, it's just like, I don't know, y'all. And I'm not saying that the damn school had anything to do with it or nothing like that. I'm not accusing them of nothing. And I know it's some evidence there that's saying that he killed himself, but it's just, for some reason, just for me, it's hard for me to freaking believe that that's what actually happened. I don't know. This one here is wild, man.
For over 3 months. Could they really have supported his entire body weight for that long without snapping? Well, some people actually tested out the strength of these shoelaces to see for themselves, leading to various degrees of success. Prompting the theory that whose body was somehow planted there afterwards, or that it wasn't even him. So despite this case technically being closed and the investigation now over, it's still very much alive here in the online world, where people continue to question what exactly happened to Hu Xinyu.
Like, call me a conspiracy theorist all y'all want to, Bean Team. I'm just gonna say this, man. As much as we can believe, if you want to believe that that's what happened to him, he just committed suicide and all that, you can also believe that they telling us he committed suicide because they wanted to close the case so it can stop getting all that attention that it was getting and everybody can shut up about it. You know what I'm saying, man? Oh, we gonna plant his body right here and make everybody think he committed suicide. The end. Close the book. End of the story. You know what I'm saying? But for me, that story ain't end, man. Like, I don't know what the freak happened to who, man. I can't believe that. I'm not saying I believe it the other way either, that the freaking school, but the school did have some questionable stuff going on. This is all I'm saying too, man. Jesus effing Christ. Like I said, y'all, Nick, dude, you finna have me thinking about that one for the next couple of days. We got one more to go, y'all. So let's go.
Let's take a look at Dewey's Rules of Water Safety. Now, if you ever find yourself in trouble in the water, relax. If there's an emergency, go to the nearest telephone and dial 911. You got it? Good.
It was a freak occurrence. 47-year-old Deborah Stevens was making her way through her typical route delivering newspapers when suddenly the skies opened up, dropping down a historic flood on Fort Smith, Arkansas. But knowing she had a job to do, Deborah pushed on, dodging closed and flooded roads in an attempt to get to her usual paper route. A risky decision that proved costly, as upon attempting to take a new path behind a set of apartment buildings, Deborah's car would be swept up into the floodwaters, pinning her vehicle against a set of trees. And in a panic, she calls the police.
911, where's your emergency?
I have an emergency, a severe emergency. I'm in a flooding. My car veered off the road while I was doing my newspapers, and I'm flooded over here on the end of Kincaid, and it's all the way up to my windows, and I can't get out, and I'm scared to death, ma'am. Can you please help me really bad?
I need you to calm down. I need you to tell me where you are.
Upon establishing contact with 911 operator Donna Renew, the two began their work trying to determine where exactly she had been trapped, as this area was completely unfamiliar to Deborah.
I don't know, ma'am. I'm on the end of Kincaid down here by these apartments. There's some apartments on Kincaid. I don't know what they're called.
What color is your vehicle?
Yeah, dark. It's gray SUV, lady. The water's all the way up to my windows.
Okay, hold on for me. Don't hang up. And you're at close to the area of 5801 Kincaid?
Yes, ma'am. I need help right now.
The urgency of the situation is clear just by hearing Deborah's voice, as she pleads with the operator to send someone out to her as soon as possible, recognizing that the water was likely going to consume her in the following minutes, leading to Deborah growing more and more panicked.
Please send somebody fast to get me. I'm scared.
Okay, listen,
I can't swim. I can't swim. I'm gonna drown.
You're not gonna drown. Just calm down.
Well, ma'am, it's all the way up to my chest.
Okay,
please,
I understand. Hold on for me.
I'm scared. I'm sorry.
It's fine to be scared. You have a right to be scared.
I'm scared.
Though this is where this fairly normal 911 call begins to take a strange turn, as Deborah's urgency was not reciprocated by the operator, who began to not only dismiss Deborah's worries, but seemingly become annoyed at the trapped woman.
Somebody save me.
Am I not on the phone with you trying to get you some help?
Yes, but I
Okay,
need
so stop.
somebody to get me out before I die. I'm sorry.
You're not going
I'm
to die. I don't know why you're
scared.
freaking out. It's okay. I know the water level is
I'm
high.
scared.
I understand that, but you freaking out is doing nothing but losing your oxygen up in there, so just calm down.
But are they not gonna...
Oh, hell no! This bitch done lost her goddamn mind. I'm not gonna go there, y'all. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna calm my voice down, but I'm gonna say this bitch done lost her motherfucking mind, man. How the fuck you know that I'm not about to die, bitch? You ain't here. You got a camera on my car right now. I'm telling you that this freaking water is up to my damn chest, getting to my neck, about to freaking go past my nose and my throat and freaking kill me. I'm telling you, I'm flooding right motherfucking now. And you telling me calm down? You telling me to calm down when in the next couple of minutes I'm gonna lose my life? Like you sitting right there looking and you know that I'm lying or something. Like she was making it out like this lady was making a big deal out of nothing. Like she was just sitting in a puddle of water or some shit. Like the water was just up to her goddamn legs or knees or something. This shit up here. This shit right up here about to kill this damn lady, man. And she begging for her fucking life, and you are the ambulance. You the fucking dispatcher, whatever. You're 911. Somebody please call 911. And then when you call the motherfuckers when you're about to die, this how you get treated? Are you fucking kidding me? I know I said I wasn't gonna do it, but I still did it a little bit, y'all. This is bullshit.
Come get me?
You said what? I'm sorry?
When are they gonna be here?
As soon as they get there.
Man, my phone's gonna die, and they're not gonna find me, and it's gonna ruin my brand new phone.
Do you really care about your brand new phone? I mean, you're over there crying for your life. Who cares about your phone?
And this frustration only grew more and more visceral, as she then began to place the blame onto Deborah for getting into this predicament in the first place.
Hold on, okay?
Thank you. I'm sorry if I'm rude, but I'm scared.
You're not being rude. I know you're scared. Just calm down for me.
I'm scared. I've never had anything like this happen to me before.
Well, this will teach you next time. Don't drive in the water.
Couldn't see it, ma'am. I'm sorry, or I wouldn't have.
I don't see how you didn't see it. You had to go right over it, so.
No, ma'am. I was in the truck. I was in a parking lot. There was no water where I was at.
Okay. The water just didn't appear.
At this point,
like, can you imagine somebody freaking before you about to die, like however you about to die, but you know you about to die, Bean Team. Can you imagine you talking to the last person you'll ever talk to in your life and they freaking chastising you? They freaking blaming you for your death. Oh, you should have never did it. You would have never be about to die. You bleeding out on the ground. It's your fault. I told you, you should have known better. Like, what the fuck type shit is this, man? I almost feel like this lady need to get locked up for this, even though I don't think it's no illegal issue you can lock her up for. But Jesus Christ, man, what the are we listening to?
The call had been going on for well over 15 minutes, but still no help had become visible to Deborah, who, despite knowing just how close to death she was, remained as composed as she could be, just thankful to have someone there talking to her, even if that person on the other end of the line was dismissing her and demeaning her.
I'm sorry, ma'am. What's your name?
Donna.
Donna, thank you for being here for me, Miss Donna.
You're welcome.
Though all of this failed to stop the obvious annoyance of the operator, who after nearly 20 minutes now, couldn't help but sneak in a laugh.
In between both apartment complexes on this street, at the dead end.
In the very back side, there's a bunch of trees.
Right there, she showed us 5801 at the end.
Before finally just losing it.
These people are out, they can all see me, they're all standing out there watching.
Miss Debbie, you're going to have to shut up, okay? I need you to listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
The whole call had been leading up to this moment, as Donna's frustration had finally boiled over, as she straight up tells the helpless woman to shut up. Though despite this demand, Deborah couldn't keep quiet for long, as the situation that was teetering on the edge of life and death suddenly collapsed.
It's helping me ping your location, so don't hang up on me. Okay, where are you moving to? Tell me where it's going. Okay, tell me me where you are. Listen to me. Hold on. I'm on the phone with her right now. She is legit freaking out. She said the vehicle is now moving in the water and she doesn't know which way it's going. So stand by. Okay, stop. Bye. Okay, stop. Bye. Okay, stop. Bye. Okay, stop. Bye. Okay, stop.
I'm standing around the very back side of the apartment complex on the southeast side, and the only part of her car I can see is the roof and the dome light that's on in it. I can't get out there to her, and you're gonna have to wait out here to me to get to me, so.
It would take officers approximately 12 hours to find Deborah's car, where inside she was dead. Her final moments of life being captured on a 911 call, where the operator couldn't even pretend to care. And her predicament was made even more heartbreaking in hindsight, as it was revealed that Deborah was handicapped and couldn't even swim. In fact, she had a crippling fear of water. Following the release of this dispatch call to the public, heavy criticism was immediately placed onto Donna Renew, with hundreds and thousands of people signing petitions calling for criminal charges to be made against her. But no such charges were ever made. In fact, she wasn't even fired for her role, because this was her final shift anyway. She had submitted her 2 weeks' notice exactly 2 weeks before, and this just so happened to be her final shift, which
wow, that would explain a lot. We'll explain it sort of counter of at least the fact that she knew this is my last day. I don't give a fuck about this job no more. So now I don't even give a fuck about doing my job the correct way. You know what I'm saying, man? Jesus Christ, that part right there, man. Hearing her on that phone saying I can't breathe and stuff. That one right there just got me, y'all. Now that's gonna sit with me for a long time. This is crazy, man. Y'all put me on something with this Nick Crowley. I swear y'all did. Let's finish it up.
Perhaps explains her attitude. And with one last cruel twist to the story, just 3 weeks after Deborah's passing, her mother Nancy would pass as well, with family members claiming that it was due to a broken heart and the stress caused by the ordeal. Though despite this and the fact that Donna Renew has never apologized for her actions, Deborah's family has gone on to forgive her nonetheless, with this amazing act of virtue shining a faint light on one of the darkest cases I've ever come across.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Jesus, my brothers and sisters. God damn, man. I'm serious, man. Just hearing her say, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. That right there had tears coming to my eyes being teen. And then just the whole case. And this lady, I understand the public, because I said it too. I understand thousands of people want her to face criminal charges. But like I also said, man, I don't really think you can really put nothing against her. And then when we find out that the reason that she most likely was acting this way, she an asshole anyway, but the reason that she was doing this, one of the reasons at least, is the fact that this was her last day at the job, so she ain't give a damn any damn way. But it's like, dude, regardless of it, it's your last day, your first day at the job, this job right here is life or death for people when they call you. You know what I'm saying? For people when they tell you they in trouble. And she should have known this lady was in trouble, man. Jesus freaking Christ, my brothers and sisters. This video from Nick was so freaking good, y'all. Let's just run through it real quick. We talked about that one. What was the one before that? Hugh. I don't know, man. I'm just telling y'all, man. Just me personally, Hugh. I don't know. I don't believe that Hugh killed himself. Like, I don't know what the freak happened to Hugh. I told you, man, this one of those ones where you can have all type of conspiracies ranging from freaking aliens to the government to all type of ish, man, to the men in black, all that craziness, man. For some reason, I just don't believe that's what happened to him. The one before that, y'all. The one before that. The damn teacher flying the plane, man. And he sitting up there joking and chastising and demeaning this boy Connor, who trying to check everything out before they get on this plane, actually doing the proper safety procedures, and he making it a big deal about it. And come to find out, boy, the one thing both of y'all should have checked, and I don't even know if they could have checked it if this would have prevented this from happening. If they would have checked the weather before they went up, because what Nick showed us, it looked more just like a storm cloud from out of nowhere. You know how sometimes storm clouds will just come from out of nowhere? That's what looked like what happened to them, man. And that's why I said it just looked like it was their time to go. But for the freaking instructor to be the way he was before they died, it's just like, oh my God. If you only knew what was about to happen to you. The other one, I skipped this one. Let's talk about this one real quick. Goddamn Luke, y'all. Like I really felt it from the beginning, because I'm knowing that it's gonna be something crazy about him, and I'm just looking like this dude looked like he like to do terrible things with underage children. You know what I'm saying? He just had that freaking look to him, man. But in a way, like I was saying, he was genius in how he was gaining all those followers. He knew how to go viral and all that. But some of the most viral people out here, my brothers and sisters, you never know what they doing behind closed doors. What was the next one? God damn, we had what, 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 5 crazy stories this time, my brothers and sisters. The freaking Snapchat, man. No. Hold on. Let me get it right, y'all. Oh yeah, okay, my fault. We just got one more. It was the first one. The flight 1141, man. It's just so crazy, and we was talking about this on the last Treasure Tales, about you joking around, talking about what could happen to you, how you could die by doing something, and then you do that something, and then you do die. You know what I'm saying, man? It go back to what I was saying at the beginning, y'all, man. I just honestly feel like it's some stuff you can speak into the universe, like the universe is listening at all times, man. And some of this stuff, you talk about it enough, it'll come true. Or you might not even talk about it a lot, but it still may end up coming true. I just feel like all our thoughts, all our energy that we put out, it comes back to us. So don't be putting out no energy joking around about you goddamn that's like one of us being in about to go out in our car and being like, when we get one of these red lights, we ain't gonna make it through, and then we end up dying at a red light. It's like you predicting your death, and you putting it out there, then it actually happens, man. And those people actually did it. And the crazy part is, the ones who actually caused the people to die, they didn't die. They survived. I digress, my brothers and sisters. This was a great one. Long story short, short story long, from Nick Crowley, y'all. I freaking love this man channel. Y'all best believe that I'll be back very soon to him. Y'all just please, before y'all leave, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that if you ain't did that yet. And I also need y'all to remember this. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.